Hello, I didn't see you come in there. It's a lie. I did see you. I'm always watching. So, to my, what is it now, 12 subscribers, you ain't gonna watch this. I mean, why would you? Oh, microphone's pretty far away. Why would you watch this? Doesn't look very interesting, but you know, some of the best things in life don't look interesting at the start. Today I want to talk to you about Nintendo and Sega and Microsoft. Feel dirty just doing that. Anyways, I get a lot of people tell me that the Sega Dreamcast was way too expensive for what it was. I mean, I know that when I was just a little jester, and when the other J Jester was just a little jester as well, about the same time, we're about the same age, you know, we wanted Dreamcasts because we liked Sega. You know, Sega's pretty cool. You know, we had our Genesises. I don't know what the right word is for it. I don't think it ever came up before. You know, we had our Sega systems. Let's call it that. Sounds like a good name. Very generic. And we had both had Super Nintendos and Nintendo 64s, you know, we had Game Boys. No one had a Game Gear. Who the fuck had a Game Gear? No one had a Game Gear. You had a Game Gear? Prove it. I don't think it's true. But we wanted a Dreamcast. Just because, you know what, it looked fucking amazing, you know? This was the late 90s. You know, I had a Sega Saturn myself, and I love the Sega Saturn. As you could probably tell by the fact that I held up my limited edition promotional Nights into Dreams sampler disc for the Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn, it's a pretty damn cool system. It has some cool games. What? I'm not gonna detail anymore. This is the only game you need. But anyways, we had different reasons for wanting a Dreamcast, but my point is that the other jester has always been a Nintendo person. I've always been a Sega person. I love my Sega. But we both wanted the Dreamcast because the Dreamcast was amazing. It really looked amazing. It looks at least as good as the early Xbox games, the early PlayStation 2 games, and just about all GameCube games, because let's be honest, GameCube doesn't really look that good. No. I mean, it has a style. But that's part of what I'm getting at. The Dreamcast also has a style. It's a little bit like the PlayStation, you know? A little bit like the Saturn, you know? It's got this sort of jagged, edgy look. Punky. Grungy. Angsty. And that was cool. That was cool back in the late 90s. I was there. I remember. It was damn cool. So, why didn't we get one? I mean, I have one now, but got it in the late 2000s, you know? I didn't have it back then. And the simple answer was it was too expensive. It was too goddamn expensive. Not for a game system, really, because there have been way more expensive ones. I mean, look at the 3DO. I'm not going to cut away to anything. My editing software doesn't work anymore. I'm uploading this straight to YouTube. I don't know why my parents got one, because my father really liked the NES, and my mother really liked the Super NES, and we got a 64 much later when my mother really wanted to play Zelda, and my dad really wanted to play Excite Bike 64, so I don't know why we got a Saturn first. They were probably high or drunk or something. Probably not. But we got a Saturn, and it was amazing. But we didn't get a Dreamcast. We stuck with Nintendo, actually. After we got a 64 and... Doing the math. Give me a second. I don't know. Who knows? Probably like 99 or something like that. We got the 64. It was... Or Nintendo from then on, my family was. We got a GameCube later. Now, a lot of people say that the GameCube should have been able to play DVDs. I find that not to have been a compelling reason not to buy it. However, the Dreamcast was way more expensive than the GameCube way earlier, and technically it's not quite as good. I find the games to look a fuckload better myself, but that's probably just because of, the game quality, not the system quality. Let's say that the Dreamcast did have a DVD drive too. Oh, that's why my parents bought a PlayStation 2 when it came out. It had a DVD drive. And actually, believe it or not, the PlayStation 2 was the cheapest way to play a DVD when it first came out. I'm not kidding. Now, the Dreamcast was more expensive than the PlayStation 2 to begin with, and it would have been even more expensive with a DVD drive. However, it's not that much more expensive than the DVD player I wanted. Let's buy this, Jimmy. And he's like, yay, yay, yay. Except that didn't happen. That's what would have happened. And so, that would have saved it maybe. That leads us to something else interesting that happened. That's the end of my Dreamcast rant, by the way. Partially, I imagine, because Microsoft wasn't in the race. Looking back, it's surprising that Nintendo and Sega got together. To be fair, Sega slept around a lot. They were the town mattress for. It's like they released Sonic games on all kinds of crap. But oftentimes the Nintendo systems got a port that was at least as good, and that's pretty uncommon for the Wii. So, where am I going with this? I don't know. I just wanted to talk about Sega stuff. Button to click is really tiny, and I'm trying to do this without moving out of frame, even though the mouse is like really far over there. Ha, there we go. Goodbye.